Okay. Hello, everyone. I am excited that we are coming to you today with our second summit guest interview with Zaria. We are here with the Align and Thriving Summit. We are coming from overwhelmed to overflow. And one of the things that let me roll it back. I'm gonna rewind. I'm gonna start over. The great thing about being able to edit videos. Okay. Hello, everyone. This is Dwayna Williams, Donna Morris, and Zaria with us today. We are here with the Align and Thriving from Overwhelmed to Overflowing Summit. We are super excited for this to launch on January the 2nd, and it's our second interview with our guests. And one of the things that we wanted to do is bring women together to be able to amplify our messaging, to be able to make impactful connections, and to also be able to elevate our mindset and mental wellness. So just to give you a little bit of insight of TG&D Consulting, was founded with a simple yet powerful mission, and our mission is to help purpose-led entrepreneurs and impactful organizations show up confidently and connect meaningfully with their audiences. One of the things that we really love doing when it comes to just being a marketing agency is pulling out creative ways to share stories and do that through digital marketing. Our story began from a desire to serve the underrepresented, small businesses, Black women, Black business owners. And we want to make sure that also creative women, we want to make sure that they are able to like show out their passion, not show out their passion. That's not the right word. We want to make sure they're able to live out their passion with strategy and purpose, right? So we are here today with the Align and Thriving Summit. We cannot wait to get into today's conversation. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to Donna, and we'll go ahead and introduce Zaria.
Yes. So hi, ladies. So we are going to be talking about overflow not being accidental, and what better way to do that than talk about your physical health, mindset, spiritual health, all that. So we're going to be hitting on a little bit of all that today, and we have Zaria here with us. I connected with her on social media as I was explaining to Zaria as we connected. Like, I just had a 2-year-old, and I'm like in the stage of like, wait, this mommy weight has to come off, this mommy pooch. Like, I need my flat stomach back, right? And it's not so more so about the flat stomach. It's about, for me, like gut health. So it's like physical health as well. So I'm gonna introduce Zaria, and then she's gonna let you ladies know a little bit more about her as well. And then we're gonna get into our great conversation here today. All right. So Zaria is a Coach Z. She is a certified uh, pre and postnatal fitness coach. She's an entrepreneur and founder of Guided Fit Mama, a brand dedicated to helping women rebuild strength, confidence, and identity, after motherhood. We know how important that is. So through her evidence-based programs and holistic coaching, she's helped thousands of women heal the inside from inside out, physically, mentally, and emotionally. She's a mom herself. Coach Z blends faith, science, and real life experiences to remind women that overflow is not accidental. It's created for alignment, intention, and daily stewardship of the body and mind. Okay, so Zaria, I'm gonna pass it over to you. Let the ladies know a little bit more about you. Um,
Yeah, so hi everyone. My name is Zaria. A lot of my ladies also call me Coach Z on social media, known as Guided Fit Mama. But I am a postnatal exercise specialist, and basically what I do is I help women navigate through pregnancy and moving safely through pregnancy, and then also in postpartum, just rebuilding, recovering, and kind of finding how to pour into yourself through movement after you have had babies.
Yes, and that's so important. And I know, ladies, you here watching, you can relate, especially if you're mothers. And if you're not a mom now, you'll need this information later. So make sure you're taking notes, okay? All right, so we're going to get into the conversation. We're going to be talking about some of the overflow and how it's cultivated, not coincidental, daily habits, boundaries, and how we can use our beliefs to create a space for abundance. We know that's super important when it comes to entrepreneurship, side hustle, whatever you're doing as a woman. It's important to have that mindset of abundance. So that way we can thrive and we can be aligned and we can go from overwhelm to overflow, right? Um, and then we're going to also be talking about some of the spiritual shifts in the mindset as well. The goal today is to help you ladies understand overflow and joy, purpose, finances, faith, and fulfillment. And so we're going to get into the conversation. But first, I want to do some icebreaker questions here. So, Zaria, you've built such an authentic and relatable online community. Like I said, I found you from looking up postpartum workouts, right? What has inspired you to start your journey publicly?
Yeah, so honestly, I was basically when I first had my daughter, I was just a stay-at-home mom and I was finishing up school and I realized I was having like a very early midlife crisis. I did not want to go into the career field that I was in. And so I just kind of started posting my journey of postpartum recovery. I was also posting a lot of breastfeeding content as well, but just kind of like my journey navigating through postpartum online. And it was kind of just my way to build community as I was a stay-at-home mom and I didn't have many friends in the same season as myself. So I just started posting, and that's kind of how women began to find me and start asking questions.
Yes, I love that. I'm still breastfeeding, y'all. We'll talk about
Yeah.
that later. I promise. Like I said, my
It, yeah, and
oh,
I breastfed for 21 months. But Zaria, so I heard you say something that I took note on is because of the connection piece, right? And that's one of the reasons why we love people to tell their stories too, because it allows us to connect with individuals. But I heard you say something about having a baby postpartum and not being around your village, right? I heard you say that. You didn't say village, but essentially that's what you said. And literally that's been my life during this journey of motherhood out here in Georgia. And one of the things I realized, this like aligning it to how it could this subject can touch all women in general, is just like um you may have a friend that's a mom that you don't have kids, right? You may have nieces and nephews, but knowing how to support them when it comes to
yeah,
just being a village, or being there to go for a walk with them, or ask them if they want to work out today, or just like anything, right? I think it's really important because in this entrepreneurship journey, it can get lonely. It can
Yeah.
get lonely, and we need other women to be able to connect with. So this is also why we're doing the Align and Thriving Summit, because we want to be able to pour back into other women. We want to allow other women to know that they're not alone. We want other Black women to know that we know it's tough, because it's tough. It's tough. A lot of us are building businesses from scratch, from ground up. We don't have money. We don't have investors. We're doing this thing, literally showing up every day.
yeah,
And when we're building, we're not necessarily making money. So I mean, we still have to show up. So it's really a mental strain. So I love that you shared that and said that, because I think other women can a lot of other women can connect to not feeling like they don't have the support, or feeling like
mhm,
they just don't know where to turn, or what their next move is, or just feeling in the funk like, what do I do next? So thank
yeah,
you for sharing that. Mhm.
yes, yes. Okay, so what season or experience, Aria, taught you that overflow doesn't happen by accident?
Yeah, so I think that it was definitely kind of just that fresh postpartum state. I was a stay-at-home mom, and then also I was a newly single mom as well. So I was just kind of going through all of these different major life shifts and
Mhm,
realizing like, okay, if I really want to change the trajectory of my life, my daughter's life, then I need to put in the work and I need to stay aligned with what I want in the future that I want for not only my daughter, but myself. So those major life shifts kind of had me dial in. And so it's every single day I was in a routine. I was waking up 5 a.m. breastfeeding, then after breastfeeding, dialing into my business, dialing into social media. And it was just kind of on repeat, probably for like the first 2 years.
Yes, that discipline there. And I heard you say the 5 a.m. that 5 a.m. Dwayne, she's been talking about being a part of the 5 a.m. club. And I'm like, girl, I do not want to be a part of that club, but I understand it. Like, it is so important to get that additional time in the morning. Like for me, it's like I'm more so like a night owl. So like I feel like find my rhythm and flow at night. I'd rather stay up late doing the things than waking up early in the morning, but not like that. I feel like the past year, I'm like, wait, I think I'm about to be a part of the 5 a.m. club too, because I mean I wake up at 5:45, so what's the difference in 45 minutes, right?
Right.
Um,
And too, I think too for me, I don't have the like I used to be a night owl, but by the end of the day, I don't have the bandwidth. So I
Yeah.
can't even do that anymore. I was just like, I don't even have the capacity. Like it's been a long day. Um Donna, did you want to go ahead and do the last icebreaker? Last icebreaker.
that was it. Mhm.
Okay. So let's go ahead and get into some of the core discussion of what we're here to talk about today. When it comes to overflow, what does that look like in your life and how do you define it?
Overflow for me, it's nothing to do with like materials or monetary. It's just kind of being aligned with my purpose and what I want for my life every single day. So I always just go back to like my core values. I want to have um like freedom to do certain stuff for me and my daughter, to be able to not kind of the world is so crazy right now. So being able to have like the freedom with my daughter to have the decision of do I want to put her in regular school? Do I want to homeschool her? Do I want to, do these things? But just being able to have those values and kind of have the I don't know the word to use for it, but to be able to have options for our life.
Mm-hmm.
Like
That I love
well,
that.
having the free will to choose. I love that. Yeah, because I think that's super
Zaria, I
important.
have a question. Zaria, something that just came up. I'm sorry, Donna. I think is I have an internet lag. My apologies.
Or
I so when you think stay at home mom, you a lot oftentimes you don't think single mom. Like how are you able and for any of the like other moms that single that are thinking about like going full time into their part-time hustle or something that they are like the idea that they have, like what are some insight that you can share with a single mom that is looking to do that? Like how have you been able to be a stay-at-home mom, show up for your daughter, maybe potentially even think even have the thought about homeschooling? Like how do you find the time as a single mom to do that?
Yeah, well, okay. So at first, I was very, very blessed. I have great parents. So when I was initially a single mom, I was staying at home with my parents. So I stayed with them for the first year of my daughter's life, probably year and a half. So great parents, shout out to them. I did have a little bit of privilege there. Um,
Oh, I mean, that's what they're here for. That's okay.
Yeah, yeah. So I was staying at home with them for the first year and a half. Then after that, we actually moved. So my hometown is Shreveport, Louisiana, and then I moved out here to Houston, just because fitness is a lot bigger out here in Houston, and I wanted to be able to really build that community. So we moved out here to Houston, and me and my daughter have been here since she was about a year and a half. So, but I knew like moving from my hometown to Houston, like, okay, like obviously I'm going all in now on my business full time. I don't really have a choice here. But that's what I wanted. So I was really determined. I came out here, single mom, Houston at a year and a half, postpartum. And then from there, it was just like every day I was showing up for my business. I had that routine, that structure. Um, and I think that's important. Even if you start with like a 9 to 5 or if you're working multiple jobs, I always tell women like you can pour in maybe it's 20 minutes, 30 minutes at night into whatever it is that you really have a passion to do. And then that consistency, that routine could lead you to having that full-time entrepreneurship that you want. But I think that's super important to just pour in a little bit every single day, even if it's like 10, 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah. And I one of the things that I was actually also telling Donna just moved to Texas. So she moved away from
Oh,
family.
wow.
Georgia.
I'm in Dallas. I'm in Dallas.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yes, yes. So you guys have to connect. I know Houston and Dallas is kind of far, but so when she moved, she was just like it was like a thing, it was a nervous thing for her, right? Anxious thing to where I don't know if I should do this. I'm gonna be away from family. And I was like, well, you don't have like, yes, you're not going to have the support, which is the downside, as much support, but you don't have any distractions, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's something about being able to really show up for your business and pour into your business every day. And I think that's one of the beauties of getting away to chase your dreams is you could literally minimize all distractions to
Yeah.
your business, right? Yeah, so and that's one of the things that I feel like I was able to do too when I came to Georgia and moved away from family. Yes, I miss them to death, but I'm like, it's nothing like being like to have that solitude and for me to be able to just pour into my passions and what I wanted to do. And I really did see the difference from when you do have distractions and you have family or you have people and relationships that are needing you and pulling from your cup versus you really being able to like lock in and be laser focused and just knock out the business.
Mhm.
So when
Yeah.
it comes so you said something about discipline, you said something about routine and consistency. What about faith? When it comes to faith, how has that shown up in your business today? How's that even showed up in your decision to take that leap to move to Texas and leave your family, your parents that has been there supporting you with a 1-year-old child?
Yeah, I definitely lean on my faith a lot. I think it's super important because it's like you said, building a business, especially when you're starting from scratch, you don't have like a mentor, you don't have the money, investors, anything like that. It can weigh a lot on you. So
Mhm.
leaning into my faith and having that kind of ground me and always being able to have that pour back into me has been super important. So I really do prioritize my faith as much as possible. Um,
Mhm.
when I first moved to Houston, I was so nervous to even find like a church or anything. So I'm like, I have my baby. She was what, 18 months at the time, but I was like, I'm scared to bring her to church. I don't know anybody.
Mhm.
So we were doing online church probably for like the last 2 years, but I just recently ventured out and found a church. So we've been going in person a little bit more. So that's super exciting, but I've always just leaned back into my faith and something that I've really prioritized that I probably didn't prioritize a lot in my last season was now before I make like any move, any decision, always just, praying about it first and waiting for a response to make sure that I'm aligned with what God's will is for my life as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, that is so important. And I think, sometimes we get lost in the motherhood, the business. Like it's like we to get back in alignment, it's like the start of that is the relationship with God. And if you don't believe in God and you're here today watching this, or watching this recording later, there's a higher power somewhere. So if it's not God, it's a spiritual realm that you need to be pulling from because you're going to need it in the season of entrepreneurship and the season of even if you're climbing a corporate ladder, you're going to need something to lean on. So I love that you shared that. Now, to Azaria, I know that we talked about you being disciplined, showing up on social media. I know social media is a huge part of like your marketing funnel, how you get clients and things like that. But how do you use that tool for purpose and not performance?
Yeah, I think that it can be a struggle sometimes for some people, especially like younger generations, to show up on social media a certain way. I try
Yeah.
really hard not to. I really don't post much of my personal life at all on social media. I'll post a little snippets here and there, but I think it's really important to pour into social media what you would pour into a client in real life.
Mhm.
And using it as a tool to build community and connection virtually, not something like you're posting out of obligation or following trends, anything like that. I
Mhm.
think it's super important to still have that sense of humanity just over the phone instead, because that's what I use it for. Just being able to connect with people that you necessarily wouldn't be able to connect with in real life because the world's so big.
Yes, it is. And that's funny you say the world's so big because me and my son, my 7-year-old, he was asking me the other day, Mommy, how many people are in the United States? So we just started doing research and I knew that there was like millions, but I'm like, wait, there's 8 billion people in the world. Just think about that. Like your service, what you're offering, it needs to be seen as 8 billion people in the world. Like, yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy because it's so big, but also it's kind of small too sometimes. I took a vacation, was that last year or the year before for my birthday? I went to St. Martin and there was a lady inside of my app. She was one of my clients in my app and she was like, "Oh, this is my home country. Like I'm from the island. When you come, we have to connect." And so I actually,
Mhm.
when I went out there for a vacation, I met up with her and like we took photos and stuff and it was really cool because I never would
Yeah.
that I touched somebody who was, on an island somewhere. So it was really
Yeah, and that's a great marketing tool as well to be able to share the story of, and that's, I feel like that's a great email marketing story right there, or a blog post or something like that,
yeah.
or even like a carousel. But that is awesome. I love that. And that, I love that is like my phrase these days. So I will say that very often. I pick up these different phrases. So when it comes to social media, how are you tracking that as like a part of your business success, or how are you aligning that with knowing that you're like growing and performing, excelling in performance in that area when it comes to social media marketing?
Yeah, so social media has definitely been a really big tool. And honestly, when I started, I didn't necessarily think of it that way. Like I said, I was kind of just posting my journey of postpartum recovery. It was more so just like an outlet for me. And then I started realizing that I was finding community on social media. Um, And then from there, women would just like start asking questions about my postpartum journey. They were asking for advice. So that's kind of when I started using it to actually reach out and gain clients on social media for my coaching business. Um, so social media's played a really big part in growing my business. And like I said, just using it as building community, marketing as well, but definitely just like the community aspect has played a really big role in being able to scale my coaching business.
And then
Yeah,
Zaria, you
I'm
also
sorry.
said the app, and you were very humble when you said it. I was just like, app, like, so. So with you building your community on social media, was that the first stepping stone for you to be able to say, I have an app? Like, how does this come out?
Yeah, so there's been a lot of like steps and changes. So originally I just kind of started out on social media when women were asking me questions. I was like, okay, well maybe I can turn this into a resource that I can create to be able to give to them because it's not really realistic to like sit and answer DMs all day, or I was trying to find
Mhm.
something that would work for everyone. So I made a resource. The first one I created was just like a free guideline resource on postpartum recovery. And then from there, I started scaling and I created different programs, and they were PDF programs. Um, and something that I've learned in entrepreneurship is like you're never going to be able to please everybody. So then I would have ladies and they're like, well, I love the PDFs. But then some ladies were like, I would really love to see this in an app. And so that kind of scared me at first because I'm like, well, I'm very new on my entrepreneurship journey. I don't really know anything about building an app or anything like that. But I actually had a third party company reach out to me. And so they have like their own app platform where they host fitness coaches on there. So
Nice.
I was like, okay, well, maybe this is like a great starting point in order to do my app. So I've been collaborating with them for the last 2 years. And I really love their platform. It's been very nice. I love the creators behind it. We have a really great relationship. But actually, at the top of 2026, it's probably going to be late November of this year, but I'm actually creating my own app. So instead of having it under their name, it will be under all of my branding and stuff. So I'm super excited about that.
Yes, you
Yeah.
leverage social media to grow your community. Then you partnered with
Mhm.
somebody for app, and now you're going to be having your own. So yes, love that.
That is
Um,
amazing. Congratulations on that. That's
Thank
exciting.
you.
Okay, so were there ever any moments like in this journey as you're pivoting and experiencing, like you experience motherhood, you experience single motherhood, you ventured out and moved away from family. You started growing your business. Like in those moments, were there ever a time where you felt like overflow wasn't possible for you? And if you did, like, how did you move through that?
Yeah, there were definitely times where I kind of felt I was moving in survival mode. There was I would probably say, like when my daughter was about 2 years. So when I was about 2 years postpartum, I just had a lot going on, personal life, navigating single motherhood, navigating being away from family, trying to scale my business. So I did feel like I was kind of operating out of survival mode. And I was like, well, my business was doing great, but I wasn't doing so well as far as, navigating through everything and being able to hold all the weight on my shoulders. So I was like, well, I don't know if this is, for me. But I just really did lean back on faith and routine and realize that kind of like we were talking about earlier before the interview, like there's not always a true balance, but there is a juggle that you
Yeah.
can have. And sometimes you may have to put certain things in a cup that are priority and then certain things put to the side for right now. So it's kind of what I did, and realize like what really should be a priority and what I need to pour into right now, and then what can wait, to kind of get out of that survival mode that I was in.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that's so easy. Like literally, we just came out of the season, right? And we experienced this. Like okay, so Dwayne and I, we are like when twins through and through. We have she has an 8-year-old, I have a 7-year-old. She has a 3-year-old, I have a 2-year-old. Like both of our children
Yeah.
are like 10 months apart, right? To be exact. So she experienced becoming a mom of multiples before me, right? And in the season of her becoming a mom, like I had a miscarriage. It's like so much going on, right? And then I ended up getting pregnant again. We have these two multiple sets of children. Our grandmother gets sick. Months later, she dies. Randomly, she's healthy. Randomly, she gets cancer. Then she dies. And literally, Dwayne is coming up and down the highway from Georgia to North Carolina to help me because I have this 6-month, 5-month old baby at the hospital, helping my mom with hospice. Wait, we ended up having to pause the business.
Pause the
It was
business.
just it was
Right.
just so much going on. It was like we are holding on by dear life. Talk about
Yeah.
survival mode. And it
The
was
chin
like
on the hair on my chinny chin boy. And we are literally just now, like 2 years later, we are just now like starting to feel like, okay, we got this. We got
Yeah.
this. God, we got this. Don't we? Like you got this, we know you
yes,
do. So yeah. And that whole survival mode is real. It's very real. But one of the things I heard you say, Zaria, was something about not overloading yourself, right?
Mhm.
And one of the things that I don't know how to do, and I'm sure many other women that are watching this can relate, I don't know how to not overload myself. It's like, sis, do you really have to put 6 things on your list for the day? Like, do we have to always overperform? And it's just like so yeah, for me, when it comes to survival, I'm just trying to get to the place to where I'm not doing that. Like, girl, you only got a good 2 things that you can get off your list today. Be fine with
Mhm. Yeah.
realistically, it's like be
that.
realistic.
Right?
I remember I
Be
had
fine
this
with
discussion with my
that.
therapist. Yeah, I had this discussion with my therapist. She was like, Donna, this is your expectations are not realistic. And she said something about delusional. I was like, that woke me up. I was like, okay, therapy. I called Dwayne after I said my therapist said I was being delusional. It's like, girl, how can you get 7 things done with a 1-year-old, with a 6-year-old, doing this, running the business, being a wife? Well, like, what are
Drop
you doing?
off. We must make that. Yeah. So that survival mode is really real, and I think with the state of the economy now, it's really easy for us all to be like in that. I think it's really easy for women in general to be living in a state of survival, but really truthfully, when we think about it, we can't operate from that state of that place for long. Eventually we're going to be like, okay, God, I'm exhausted, like I can't take it no more. So when I think one of the things too that is helpful for me in this journey, and Zaria, I'm sure you shared this with many of your clients, is just like being able to like check in with yourself, like just how do you feel today? Like,
Yeah,
how are you? Like, check in with yourself. Like, literally, just sit there for a couple of minutes and check in with yourself. You check social media. You checking what strangers are doing. You checking in with your friends. You on the phone, but have you checked in with yourself? Yeah,
very
Yeah.
and that's
Mhm.
one of the things that's helping me get out of that state and mindset of like survival. Like, I'm surviving today. It's like, no, you're thriving today.
right.
Yeah.
It's super important. I've been highlighting it a lot because I do weekly coaching calls with the ladies inside of my community. So once a week, we'll hop on a group call. And one thing I've been highlighting a lot is caregiver burnout. And it's something I heard from a Mel Robbins podcast. Um,
Yes, I sent that to everybody when I
yeah.
watched it. I was like, I gotta send this to everybody.
I did not know about it until I heard it on her podcast, and it made a lot of sense. So I started implementing it in my coaching and kind of helping the women in my app learn how to identify like when the burnout's coming. Because she
Yeah,
said something that really stuck is that you can't necessarily always prevent the burnout just because you might be in a season where you do have a lot that you have to do. But if
yeah,
you can identify when it's coming or that it's coming on, you can kind of start to like put things in certain cups and learn how to, like you said, check in with yourself. And I think that's super important, just being able to identify when it's coming. So then you know, kind of like, okay, it's coming. This is what I need to do, move some stuff around, check in with myself more, maybe give myself 10 minutes of just me time. So super, super important.
Mhm.
yes. Okay, so we just said a lot of great stuff there. So talking about burnout, like how do you protect your peace and your energy as you continue to grow as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, honestly, I've learned to say no. I had to tell a friend no this morning because my
Okay.
friends know just on this journey. I don't have a lot of friends yet. I've been going to more networking events and getting out there to try to find women who are on the same journey as me and kind of in the same season. But a
Mhm.
lot of my friends don't necessarily understand, like if I say, oh, I have an interview at 10 a.m., like you can't call me the morning of and be like, hey, do you want to go here? Because a lot of times it's not that I don't want to go, it's just that my schedule is already kind of booked up. So
Mhm.
I've just learned to kind of be more vocal and be like, hey, if you
Mhm.
could tell me in advance, give me a day and a time, learning to say no, not being pulled like every which way. If family calls and they're like, hey, can you come home for the weekend? I can't this time, I'm sorry. I feel like
Mhm.
a lot of times I would feel obligated, kind of, and I didn't want to let anybody down. So I'm like, sure, I can cook you the meal. Sure, I can come with you this weekend, but I didn't necessarily realize that that was taking a lot from me.
Yes.
So I think there's a balance. Definitely still get out there. Don't isolate yourself, obviously, but learn when you need to say no.
That is super important. Go back to therapy. Like I've been in therapy like consistently for the past 2 years, so I'm gonna probably reference that a lot because it's been so monumental in my life. But just setting boundaries is really
Very
boundaries, right? Boundaries and not people pleasing. Because as
right.
women, we can get into this realm of not gonna be there for this person. It's like gotta be there for that person, but who's being there for you? Because when you're depleted, who's gonna take care of your children, right? Who's gonna
Exactly.
pick up and make sure that you keep going. So I think that is super important. And the power of no is something I'm trying to teach my children. Like my son, my 2 year old says no all the time. So I'm like, he's teaching me that. But my 7 year old, he would like to do everything. It's like, no, you say no, take care of yourself first. So I'm also trying
Mhm.
to model that for him too. Super important. Okay, so when it comes to non-negotiables, I know you said something about saying no, setting boundaries. Is there any like personal habits that also I know you mentioned the discipline, but like can you kind of touch more on the personal habits you have in your overflow season so that way some of the women can maybe implement those in their day-to-days?
Yeah, so I don't necessarily have a super defined schedule. I like to have some leeway in my schedule, but there are certain things that I like to do every week, at least a few times a week, in order to continue to pour into myself. I try to get up before my household a few days a week. It doesn't always happen, so that's why I say a few days a week.
Mhm.
But I find that those mornings that I do get up before my household and I'm able to just like pour me me a nice cup of tea, a nice cup of coffee, maybe listen to a sermon, get a workout in before the rest of the household wakes up. I just find
Mhm.
that not only am I feeling better myself, but I'm also like better for my household. I don't
Yeah.
get as easily irritated with the child. I'm not as easily irritated with anybody else in my household. And I'm able to pour into them how I want to. And
Mhm.
like the mom version of me that I want to be, the partner version of me that I want to be. So that's one of my non-negotiables. I try to do that at least a few times a week.
Mhm.
Working out, my goal for myself right now is 4 times a week. So when I hit that, I definitely feel better about myself, my health. Um,
Mhm.
so yeah, and I think that's really important, like the metrics, just knowing that you don't have to work out like 5, 6, 7 times a week. You don't have to wake up before your household every single day, not chasing
Mhm.
perfection, just chasing like that consistency and what works for you and your household.
Mhm.
Love that.
Yeah. So for a mom of two, like me and Donna, who Donna technically, are you still in postpartum? What's postpartum? What's the
Well,
month?
I just came out because
You just
Josiah's
came
2
out,
now.
huh?
Yeah.
So you
Mhm.
just came out of, she just came out of postpartum. I been out of postpartum, but I still feel like I'm how do like what will be like maybe 3 tips that you can give us to get like when it comes to metrics. So say for example, we want to just start with a little old 2 days. Like at least can I get to? What will be some tips that you can give us, like a mom of multiples, entrepreneurs, our husbands are on the road, like what would be some tips you can give us on how to just get 2 days out the week, 2 days out the week at least?
Yeah, so start small. Kind of like I said, even with metrics, I feel like a lot of times we think like, oh, a workout has to be an hour long for it to be effective, or it has to be 45 minutes long, or I have to go to the gym, be in the perfect workout set. You don't have to do any of that. It can be a quick 15-minute core circuit in your pajamas, like before you go to sleep, or in the morning before the household wakes up, and you can start with that 2 times a week.
Mhm.
And that's something that I always preach because in my season of postpartum, like that was me. I was in my house working out in pajamas, um,
Mhm.
just with the set of dumbbells, and that consistency is what kept me going. So then, kind of like when I was out of that, I was able to, maybe go to the gym a few times a week or be in the cute workout set, all of those things. Um,
Yeah.
and then another thing I would definitely say is to schedule it in. So it doesn't have to be perfect, but I find that if we don't have our workouts scheduled a lot of times, we'll be like, oh, well, hopefully I get up in the 20-minute workout session sometime today. And then we
Mhm.
tend to find everything else that we can do. Like, oh, I need to respond to emails, I need to do the laundry, I need to do this. And then it's 5 o'clock, and then you're like, oh, well, I didn't get the workout in today. So I find that when we schedule it,
Mhm.
that helps a lot. And then I would also say respect the schedule that you've set for yourself. So once you set that schedule, if it's 2 times a week, maybe it's going to be Monday and Thursday, 20-minute session. Then really respect that schedule that you set for yourself. Kind of look at it as an appointment. That's what I like to tell a lot of my ladies.
I
Um,
like that.
just like it's a doctor's appointment or a meeting that you have, um, and then respect that schedule you've set.
You said respect the
Yeah.
schedule multiple times instead of honor, but I like the respect better because I'm like, I like, so for me, I don't do disrespect, right? So when I hear that word, I'm like, dang, when you can disrespect me yourself. I'm like, yeah, if you respect the schedule,
Hmm.
that, yeah,
Yeah.
well,
And one of the
not,
things that I've been trying to do too, I'm sorry, Wayne, for cutting you off. Go ahead.
no, I was reiterating, I'm like, not stick to the schedule, not honor the schedule, not manage the schedule, but respect it. Yeah, that's like a mindset thing to where it's like, okay, but go ahead, Donna.
Yeah, I watched a doctor, and I believe he was on what Jay Shetty's show or Mel Robbins. He was on Mel Robbins' podcast. Like I love me some Mel Robbins. Like Jay Shetty, Mel Robbins is like in my rotation right now. He was like 5 minutes a day. Like this man, he was like if he typically goes to the gym and stuff, but if he can't, like he knows that in the start of his morning, he will work out in the kitchen while his coffee's brewing. He's showing exercises that you can do with cans, like literally they can be
Yeah.
done one of the things too, I think if we take the pressure off of, like you said, the aesthetic of working out, like you don't have to
Mhm.
be at the gym. You don't have to be in a workout outfit. Like me and my children, we've been like at night, like they've been like they know the routine now the past few weeks. My son like, no, I'm gonna help you close your rings for the night. I'm like, I'm walking my rings are almost closed. We were running around the theater room, okay? We were running around this house. We be taking our walks, like, and it's like for me, I had so much pressure of like, I can't work out, I got the kids, I got this. And it's like, girl, work out with the kids. Like,
Mhm.
show them that you're taking care of yourself. That's important for them to see. So that way you can model that behavior so they can do it as well. So I think if we take the pressure off of the aesthetic of working out and what it should look like, because we see everything glamorized on social media, that's not reality, right? Whatever works for you, get it done.
Yeah, social media has definitely kind of taken over as far as it just giving us like a unrealistic aesthetic of what it
Mhm,
looks like.
mhm,
So definitely being able to like take that out of your mind, show yourself some grace, and being able to just look at your season and what works for your season.
Mhm.
yeah, so
Mhm.
super important. Okay, and then so we talked about a lot here. We talked about so much of when it comes to discipline mindset. Like how do women how can women balance their ambition with rest and stillness? Because we've been talking about movement, right? We've been talking about getting up early, doing the things, but how can we incorporate the rest and stillness? Because that's as important. I know, as I mentioned, the doctor that I was watching, he talks about the four pillars. And he talks about rest being, well, rest and relaxation being one of the pillars to having a healthy life. Like how can we incorporate that and make that very important in our day to day?
Yeah, so that's something I've definitely been working on probably for like the last year myself because I realized that also helped kind of take me out of survival mode. But honestly, I've
Mhm,
set kind of like time blocks and I kind of talked about it on social media in a few of my videos recently, but my whole life is in a routine, but having that
mhm,
kind of routine, not necessarily time blocks and everything has to be done at exactly this time, but just knowing how the day flows and kind of having what times I would like stuff to be done by, because just kind of having that routine allows, if I know that I put my daughter to sleep at 8 p.m., it gives me that hour to where I can kind of just pour back into me before I go to sleep.
mhm,
I find a lot of times if we don't have that routine and we kind of just wing it, then that's when we kind of get in that cycle of like, oh well, whenever she falls asleep. And I know it's really hard because everybody's child is different. Like some children, everybody's child is different, their household is different. But I just find kind of having that tentative routine just really helps. A tentative schedule helps me be able to pour back into myself, whether it's just like 20 minutes, 30 minutes at night. And also, kind of what I was talking about earlier, being able to identify the caregiver burnout, because then you can kind of move your cups around. So I've been able to realize when I have too much on my plate, and I'll be able
mhm.
to take a step back and be like, okay, no, I really need to prioritize more rest in this season. So what
Yeah.
right now is kind of stressing me out or not allowing me to rest, whether it's physically, mentally, spiritually.
Mhm. When I think you've been doing really good with that, like
Mhm.
making sure you
I've been
prioritize the rest.
I used to get really I told you about overwhelm and like putting too many things on my schedule for today. So when I was getting rest, I would get even more anxious because I'm like, I'm not getting the things done. I'm not checking anything off my list. But I think it was like after maybe like the first few weeks in the summer, because I've been like this summertime, I had got laid off from my full-time job that I went back to full-time work, excuse me. I went back into full-time work for 4 months. It did not work out. And this summer, I was just like, okay, Dwayne, I think this is God talking to you. Like, rest. Like, I just feel like it was too many different things happening and messages coming to me to where it was like downloads to where I was like, okay, you supposed to be resting. And after like the third week this summer, I just finally got comfortable with it. And I said, oh, this feels good. Because when you think
Mhm,
about it, and I think when you've been operating in survival mode for so long, you don't notice that you're constantly operating from that state in that place. And
mhm.
I started to rest and just release the word, give it to God, and rest, just rest, rest, rest. I started to feel much better, and you could tell the difference. Like I was walking around here like a zombie, and by 6 p.m., because I was constantly running off the fumes. But one of the things I started realizing is if I'm starting to slur my words, go ahead and tell me later. But by 6 p.m., I started to do that. Like it was like, okay, so I'm like, okay, Dwayne, you've been running off of fumes for how long? How
You're
long?
alive pretty much.
You can no longer do that. So I was actually, I feel like I was in a place to where not only I needed to rest, I wanted to rest, I had to. I was like forced to rest. It was like, girl,
Yeah.
rest. You don't rest. And it was like, okay. And once I was really forced to rest, I it started to really enjoy it. And I feel like now I'm getting to a place where I can start to feel like myself again. I can
Yeah.
do the things that I need to do to pour back into my business. I'm starting to get my like just my mindset and things of that nature. I was constantly on go, constantly on go. And the crazy thing is prior to losing my grandmother, she used to be like, I used to be on the phone with her very often. You still sit down. I used to be like, I got stuff to do. I got stuff to do. Like, girl, who's going to do the stuff if you're not here anymore?
Right.
Like, and what stuff are you gonna have to do if you laying in a hospital bed?
Mhm.
So I just had to really take a step back. And I think these past 2 years have really been when it comes to just one of the things we've only been doing is mindfulness, like
Yeah.
mastermind. Obviously, we've been working on like pivoting and revamping and rebranding our business, and now we're starting to like push out our new services and everything. But these past 2 years have been that for us, and it's because we've been operating out of a place of exhaustion. And quite frankly, to be quite transparent, and I love that you were sharing your transparency, we've been operating in survival mode since we were kids.
Yeah.
Right. So when you're operating in survival mode since you're a child, like how do you make that not a habit? Right.
Right.
So it really rework you like entrepreneurship, like I said at the beginning of this, like it will really show you what you need to rework, what doesn't work, what isn't going to elevate you and move you forward. But
Yeah. So, piggybacking off that, talking about alignment, like I first off, I still have not mastered the rest. I'm trying to do better. I remember Dwayne having a conversation. She's like, "Girl, how do you go to bed at this time and wake up at this time?" I'm like, "I can just do it." But like
I
this
don't do
past
that
season,
no more.
this
I
past season, I was like, "Yeah, I can't do this. This is not sustainable." Okay, this is
not
something.
only that, I'm sorry to cut you off. Not only that, share with Zaria and the ladies join in about because Zaria talked a lot about routine and schedule.
Yeah,
Donna was like a free will hippie. I'm just like, girl, where is the
yeah.
when she first came in full-time entrepreneurship? I said, what is going on?
Yes, it's like for me,
Yes.
like I feel like I'm doing it. We've been in business for almost 10 years now. It's been
Uh-huh.
time is flying. I can't believe that. But in the midst of us starting our business, I was still working corporate, and I started climbing the corporate ladder. And once I got my became a sales trainer. That I think that taught me like more of like the flow and routine because like I was training classrooms. I was training new hires. Like they needed me to be there. I needed to be on time. I needed to be punctual. But before it's like I'm like free with the wind. Like I don't like to be clocked. I don't like to be, I didn't like time. I didn't like and now you should see my calendar. I talk about time blocks and it's just for me to kind of stay on task. Not saying that every day has to be like punctual, right? Because that's not me. It won't flow for me. That would probably stress me out even more. But it was like I had to like really start like creating more structure and routine in my life because it was like, wait, now I'll go to bed this time, I'll wake up at this time, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'll be here on this weekend, I'll be at that. It's like, girl, I'll take out. You need me to take you to the doctor? Oh, sister, you need me to take you to the store? It was like I was doing literally everything, and it was like that's chaotic, right? And motherhood is chaotic enough. I don't need to be adding the additional chaos. So
It's
yeah,
a lot. And we did coaching. We paid for a coach to come in because it was just like, okay. Because I
yeah,
think too, I was like, as our business partners, I was saying the things, but we're also twin sisters, we're best friends. So it's like, girl, who you talking to? Or it may come in one ear and go out the other. So we needed to hire somebody to come
Yeah.
in and be like, okay, yeah, Donna, you got to get it together, and Dwayne, you got to do this. So it was pretty interesting to see the shifts, and I'm really seeing the shifts. But I think that shift, Donna, also helped with your mindset and to grow as an entrepreneur to where you are today, right? The challenge was a little bit, but I think it's really beneficial. The operating out of chaos and survival mode is not it, guys. The routine is going to be
Yeah.
consistency is key. And one of the things that I've learned over the course of the past week, consistency doesn't look like day to day, it looks like week to week. Is
Right.
you don't track consistency on a day to day because, like you just said something about metrics, right? It may change from day to day, but what am I doing week to week to get the result?
Mhm.
So I just
Yeah. Yeah, that's super important to add. So yeah, so ladies watching this, like do the work, pull from third party, get resources because it's needed. Like we said, we've been in our mastermind for the past almost a year. I've been doing therapy. We've had group therapy for our business. Like we've been doing the things and Zari, we might need to book your services as well. Okay. So it invest in yourself and do what you need to do to get aligned because you can't do it alone. Like it takes a village, especially if you are juggling, a caregiver, as we've been talking about, whether you have children or you're taking care of elderly parents. We're getting to that age to where now people are getting sick. You got to, move here, pivot here. So invest in yourself, pour into yourself is super important. Okay, so I want to do some rapid fire questions here. But actually, before we get to that, last question here, Zaria, which is really important because we've been talking about abundance and we really haven't hit on like gratitude. And I know that's super important when it comes to anything you do, just waking up in a state of gratitude and carrying that into your day to day. So, what role does gratitude or stewardship play in living in overflow?
Yeah, I think it plays a huge role just being able to um, have that gratitude and being able to realize that, situations always change and being able to just be grateful for what you have, where you've come. And I think that kind of keeps you grounded too. Not it doesn't it kind of takes away from the highs and the lows, kind of keeps you baseline. And I think that's super important.
Mhm.
Very, even if it's like journaling, journal like what you're thankful for today because it's so easy for us to get caught up in the chaos and the things that aren't going right, especially as entrepreneurs. Like we had a technical difficulty with our website, right? And in the midst of us planning the summit, it's like our website went down one day. Someone who we had a phone call, I had a phone call with, she was like, "Wait, I can't see your website," and I'm like, "Wait, what?" And it's like we just pivoted our business a couple months ago, so it's like people are coming back to view us, right? And it's like how are we supposed to do this stuff with our website down? But it's like, okay, there's a quick pivot. Gratitude that there's other resources we can put in place, right? Instead of letting this one moment, take us down, tear us down. It's like, no, be thankful that people are reaching out to you, right? Be thankful that we caught it and we're gonna pivot and we're still gonna be able to function as a business. Because I think too, when things don't go right in our business, it's easy for us to be like, this isn't working. But no, think about the things that are working because there's always something that's working. There's always something to be thankful for and grateful for.
Mhm. And Donna, you said something about journaling, and I just thought about essentially that's what you was doing, Zaria. When you said you first started, you was just going like sharing your day to day. It was digital
Yeah,
journaling, video journaling, but it's essentially the same thing. And that's one of the things that even as mompreneurs, me and Donna do is just like sharing our like we are like sharing our journals somewhat with people when it comes to just like the type of content that we're pushing out as mompreneurs, showing our day to days and how we're creating content, how we're navigating with the children. But I think journaling too, just the check in with, hey, journaling how you're feeling today. And these smartphones have apps. Like I have a notification that comes up on my phone every day at 5 o'clock. How check in, which is like, how
how's
are you
your
today?
day?
So
Yeah.
it's that's really beneficial. I let's go to the rapid fire questions then. So okay, so rapid fire questions. Morning routine must haves. What would you say your morning routine must have or must haves are?
Um, I like tea, so I'm a tea girly. I always have a cup of tea, and let's see what else. Cup of tea. I like to morning must-haves. Cup of tea. I like to, like I said, get up a little bit early before my household. And I'm also a caffeine girly. So after I have my tea, I always go into some form of caffeine. It's either going to be coffee or it's going to be an Alani energy drink.
Yes,
I
I've
think
tried those. Yeah, but we are coffee lovers. I look every day. Coffee. Yeah.
I
Okay. Um, one word that describes your current season.
current season, I would say growth.
Growth. The growth mindset. And that I can see that too being a fitness coach because there's always room to grow. And I think that's good to keep in the forefront. Even if you think your season is great, there's always room to learn more, to do more because the pivots sometimes they come quick. Love that. All right, and okay, favorite affirmation or scripture.
Let's do favorite scripture. I like Ephesians 6 and 11. Put on the full armor of God so that you can withstand the devil's schemes.
Mm.
Yes, that's a real 6'7". Like our kids been screaming 6'7". My 2-year-old's been screaming 6'7". That's the real 6'7" right there. All right, okay. And what does aligned and thriving mean to you?
I think just staying within your purpose, staying grounded, um, kind of always remembering your core values. I think you can never go wrong if you remember your core values, what you're doing it for, staying within your purpose that you know God or your higher power has told you that you're called to be in. I don't think you can ever go wrong. As long as you stay doing that, um, I don't think you can go wrong at all.
Mm.
Yes. This was great.
Yes,
I had
that's a good.
this was like therapeutic for me. This is
Yeah.
awesome.
I think all this
Yes.
would be so amazing. So before
Yes.
we get out of here for today's conversation, we want to also thank you, Zaria. But before we close out, we would love for you to share how everyone can connect with you. Also, we want for you to share your free gift. And I also heard you mention something about a few of this. Maybe you did story times or sharing some content about how you navigate your day. I think if you could also share some of those videos with us, I think that would be perfect because we can add that to the your summit content. We can add the links to that so that way they can see and follow you on social media too. So Bill, I'll give you the floor to share insight on how people can connect with you, and then also your free gift.
Yeah, so my platform handle is Guided Fit Mama on all social media. So Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and I just recently started posting on YouTube. And then my website is guidedfitmama.com. So you can connect with me anywhere on there. You can also email me, info@guidedfitmama.com. And then I do have my free gift. So my free gift is my core freebie. In the core freebie, you just kind of learn the basics of reconnecting with your core and pelvic floor after having babies. So it's meant for, you don't necessarily have to be fresh postpartum. You can be years out, and it definitely still works as long as you do that connection, have that consistency with the exercises. But just going through pregnancy, your core and pelvic floor do definitely take a toll, especially if you've had like multiple pregnancies, all of that. So these exercises, they're super low impact, just meant for you to kind of get back reconnected with your core.
I love that, especially
Yes.
I think the C-section mommies. I feel like my core hasn't been right since I had the first one. He's 8.
Yes, yes, definitely. And if you have had a C-section, those muscles do, again, like you say, get tampered with a lot more. So just being able to kind of reconnect, there's some breath work involved, some light core work. It just really helps those muscles kind of fire back up and know that they're still there.
Yeah, so
Yes,
thank
this
you
is
so much for
good. Awesome.
your
So
story.
utilize that, ladies. Make sure you utilize those free resources. We're bringing this summit to you for not only inspiration as you're watching it, but for you to have tangible things to take away from this to incorporate into your life, your day to day.
Yes, and thank you so much, Zaria, again. I think I was saying as Donna was talking, my lag is crazy out here. I'm in the boonies, but thank you so much for joining us today. I had some major takeaways myself. I think one of the things that I'm really going to start to do going forward is just making sure fitness is a part of my wellness journey, my weekly wellness journey, because I think that without it, I'm like, I'm not, we can't grow mentally without making sure that we keep that aspect as a priority in our day-to-day lives, especially as entrepreneurs. Like,
Yeah.
guys, we gotta stay physical. We gotta keep moving. Like entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart, and we don't want the like trying to create legacies to take us out of here. So make sure that, especially moms, make sure that, and women, make sure that you guys connect with Zaria, and really, utilize the content and the information that she's been being able to provide for us, because it's essential. It's so important, especially now. Like the world needs it now. We gotta keep moving. We're like the world is getting crazier. We're about to be in another mental health crisis, guys. So physical fitness is so important right now.